I think we're live. Let's double check real quick. Yeah, should be live. So we can jump into this stream today. If you're unfamiliar where you're at, we are going to talk about an AI related live stream master playlist. You can tell by the title of the video. Master the live stream playbook. Building AI zero subscription AI automation empire. We're going to basically break down the layout that I have here going for the AI, and just how that is structured, how you can use it. There's going to be prompts in there, everything that you would need. You guys have asked me some questions, and I'll go over them, and we'll basically be able to take a look at actually how this works, the free tools. A lot of these things, at least the way I had the programs, were SaaS related tools, and I was able to automate them just using the AI. The free versions of the AIs, there are some paid versions I'll talk about, but ultimately we're going to jump into this. We're going to try to get this all done within an hour and have everything broken down. So in case you're unfamiliar, my name is JD Dowdy. I am the owner of the Pip Academy, and there are some trading things that we're going to touch on here too. Trading things in regards to the indicator that a lot of you guys have access to over on the website. Right over here. So we're going to touch on a few of those things, and basically all the projects that I built, we're going to touch on those, and you're going to see every tool, every automation, every pipeline, how I built it using artificial intelligence. And I'm not just talking about the chatbot with using ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that. I'm talking about full business pipelines. Something that you can run on autopilot. I have social media posting that happens itself. I don't have to update or do anything about it. I just put all the videos in one section and it handles everything. When it comes to even writing emails, replying to emails, trading indicators, the coding of them, editing videos. I know there's some live streams I've done before here and over on the Pip Academy where you've seen the video editing process just a tiny bit in the background. But all of this is happening on my Mac Mini, and it's all running fully automated. There's nothing I really need to do to keep it going, right? Besides pay a small $10 a month, something like that. So we're just going to chill. I'm going to go over these, explain these, and for the certain questions that you guys had on how to set up certain stuff, I will cover that as well. So what we're going to do, let me just cover a few other things. So a lot of people don't realize about all of this is that you don't have to pay that $20, that $30, that $50 subscription. I know some of you guys have told me you're paying $250 a month for Claude and all this type of stuff, and you guys are still hitting your usage limits. This is no good. I don't do this. I wouldn't do this because I know the usage limits are very restricting, right? And I hate to pay for it and not be able to use it, right? So there's better options, there's cheaper options than that face value that they offer. So there's other programs that I used to use like Zapier. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but if you know what that program is to handle automations, I basically stopped using that. No, I've completely stopped using that, and I just have everything automated on my computer now. So that went from spending about $450 a year on that over to, like I said, the entire system is running on about $10, if that, a month. So and it's handling, like I said, emails and everything like that. So I'm going to show you how to replace, come from, and not have to rely on those social media, what do you call those? You have those programs that you pay for and they handle posting. I forgot what the social bee, later.com, those type of things that do posting for you. You don't need that. You can automate it completely yourself. And if you have any questions, drop a question and I can go in depth in another video on that specific area, on that specific template. And I can also release these to you guys if you guys want them as well. There's a bunch of stuff. I have a dashboard, which is one of the first projects I'm going to actually show you. And pretty handy for myself. I do use it every time I'm on my computer. So you guys probably know about ChatGPT, about Claude. I'm going to also show you, you guys probably also know about Gemini, Google Gemini, but I'm also going to go into using anti-gravity. I'm not going to go into using cursor because anti-gravity and cursor are basically the same. I do think anti-gravity is a little better, at least for now. And then we're going to touch into like that paid usage thing that I said, about $10 a month. That is for the APIs. So whether I'm using OpenRouter or I'm using OpenAI for their APIs, those are two good options, and you just set up with those and they give you a code. You can talk to the AI anywhere. So I'm going to show you all of this over on my screen. Just need to give an introduction for the few different project related things that we're actually going to get to touch on for this. And then when you get home later tonight, whenever you do, you can actually go download some of these programs, take screenshots from this video, send it over there. You can even send it this video and it can give you a transcript and break down what I'm saying in more detail if you have. So like I said, drop a comment today, now, if there's any questions on any section that you want me to go more in depth into. If there's questions I don't answer, if there's questions that you come up with, any of those, let's just get into it. So for the first portion, let's go over to the screen. So you should be able to go on the internet. You should have access to the internet. If you don't, it's not going to work for you. But there are some tools which would, if you just want to chat to an AI, like local models. So starting at the base level of everything, before things get costly or more complicated, the base level are those chatbots similar to ChatGPT. These I find better. They may not be able to keep a memory as you might already be used to with ChatGPT, but when it just comes to using multiple models, getting answers for things and stuff along those lines, these are the 3 websites that I recommend. So one of the first ones that we can go down the rabbit hole of is using LM Arena. LM Arena is a pretty good tool. I would say this is one of the better ones. Let's just open up a few here. Let's open up Gemini. Let's open up ChatGPT. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Gemini, and we also have Outlier. So I'll show you this. So first we can start with Gemini. You know, this is pretty much just like ChatGPT. You can go here and you can write all your questions. A little typo, and it'll come back and it'll give you the time. Right? So this is a free one that you can use, and ultimately you can do a lot here. You can do a lot. It may not have access to your files on your computer, but you can at least send your documents here through the plus symbol. You can do all of these different things. It's a free. I've never hit a usage limit with Google on this Google Gemini before. So because of that, that is one that I gravitated to before to not use ChatGPT, because I kept hitting rate limits. Same thing with Claude Desktop, rate limits. I'll go over that as well, but Google had the best. And then when they made their partnership with SpaceX, it was absolutely amazing. So this is Google. From here, I transferred to using Outlier. Outlier is like I think it's a job-based thing, somewhere where you can get paid for doing AI-related jobs. If you're interested in that, there's another side to the website that's not on the playground. You just go to outlier.ai. And if you do go to the playground side, they used to not have limits, but a few months ago they started to add some limits. I don't know if they're still there. But ultimately you can come here and you have options of all these different models that you can use. There's text models that are the best, and there are audio models, there are image models, and you can implement files. There are certain models that are great with files. So there's all those that you can go towards uploading images, uploading files. Grok, we can ask what's the latest news with basketball? What's the latest news with the WNBA? Grok fast doesn't seem that fast, huh? But here we get some information. This tool I find to be great because we have all these different models here, and they used to have access to these. These used to be a thing that you could use. I'm not sure why they have them disabled. I thought it was maybe because of cost reasons or something along those lines, but the next website I'm going to show you is basically the same but a little better, LM Arena. They do have more of these models available. At least last time I checked they did. And they ultimately have the same available thing. You can start new chats, you can choose new models. One thing that was great about this that I liked is that you can do, let's go here. Let's talk to GPT 5.4. Let's say, what can you do? Basically works just like a normal chatbot. Just like the ChatGPT and all the other ones, except for this one doesn't have a memory. So what's great about this is that we can actually go through and we can change models mid-conversation. Great. I wouldn't know the answer to this, but you can change models. Great tool. Next, we have LM Arena, which is, like I said, is the same thing. There's a few different things here. So we have battle mode, we have agent mode, we have side by side, and we have direct. Pretty self-explanatory by what it says it does. Pretty self-explanatory for what it says it does. There's also these different things in here, so you can toggle things like web search if you wanted to search the web, and it's going to choose models more directed towards searching the internet. Battle mode will basically have, let's work with this prompt. Battle mode will give me 2 to basically show me a comparison on, I can choose which model I think give me the better reply. So even if I do side by side, I guess with this one, it says 2 anonymous models. So it doesn't tell me which models are being used, but I believe once I choose, it will tell me the model, Grok 4.3, Sonnet 4.6. So side by side will be the same thing, except I can choose the models here, right? Free tool, amazing tool. And the next one is you can do this agent mode, and this ultimately will allow for multiple AIs to be used at the same time, essentially. Next is direct mode, and you can have it on max and it'll try to choose the best AI, and it has all these different models. There used to be other models. I don't know, I guess they're putting a hold on those, on the newer Claude and stuff like that, but I will show you another website in which we can get better access. But we have Claude Sonnet 4.5 here, and they're all ranked from what is the best to the worst on what is available. So this is what's there. You can send files and it will do it. So let's say make me a game of Snake, and it will open up in this coding display. But let's make it do its thing, and then we'll come back and be able to just see what it does. And you can see it mathing itself out. It'll be a game that we can actually play. It won't take too long for it to put itself together. But let's see our next covering. So we went through this, we seen outlier, we seen that we get different models and responses. While this is doing this, let's go over to the 2 other features. I'm going to go through and break down this as well. There are some people that got to see this and did ask for access, so I let them have their own versions of this. But this is not what we're going to right now. Let's go to okay, Open Router, and we'll also go to OpenAI platform. So boom, game is done. So it says press arrow key to start, space to pause. We're gonna move with the arrow key. Okay, cool. Made a quick little game for us. Game over. Easy peasy. And you can go through, you can download it, and you could unzip it, play the game from there. I think you can also put this in a link in a new tab, so you can play it from here too. You can send the link to people, all that type of stuff. So amazing tool. Next I'm going to show you is this. Let me just log in real quick. Try to show you a glimpse of the OpenAI thing. What can I show you that's not too much? Projects, people's usage. I can show you this. So this is a part of my usage thing. This is what it looks like if you go in here. So I believe if I go here, it won't show me the actual key, but it basically shows me the keys that I have. You would just go into the website openai.com, log in, and you can just put some money into the account just like that. And then you go over to, where was I just? API keys. You create a new key, you type in the name, it'll give you a key, and then you copy and paste that key wherever you want it to be able to communicate with the AI. And then you can choose what model you want to talk to. So that's basically what that is, and then everything regarding it will be tracked here. It's the same thing over here on Open Router. If I go to credits. So this one's a negative. I think my API keys were at risk. We'll make that another video. I'm not going to get into. But this is what the credit screen will look like. If you go to API keys, you go through setup API, chatbot name, expiration, whenever you want it to expire. I'll do an hour. Go create. It'll give you a key. You copy it and you paste it wherever it needs to be, and you can chat with it. What's good about this website as well is that you can actually go over to chat, and I doubt I'll be able to do this because there's no funds in this account. But what you could do is basically say hi. Yeah, it's telling me to do that. So let's see if we can continue with free models. So it'll go through and it will select. So these are a bunch of the models. I don't know if these are just free models, but I do know you do have access to Claude. Yeah, Claude Opus 5. I know I was using 4.6 on this and 4.7. But I'll show you exactly how you use this later. But generally, you're just going to these websites to grab API keys, and then you'll put them in your code, or you give it to the other AIs that we'll discuss. And it will actually be able to choose what model. It will be able to choose one of these, and then you communicate through it through there. So, look at that. They have soul. I don't know how this free model thing works, to be honest. But we can go to models and it will show text. Looks like they have a bunch of filters here on the side as well. So these are the APIs. You grab an API key and then it will charge the account. You fund the account with some money, kind of like how it is over here. And you do that, basically. Now, let's go on to the project. So those are just some elementary, basic setup related stuff. The next important thing that we should cover is first project. So this is basically my dashboard. Anytime I open a new tab, it's going to bring me here. This is a section on my website. Don't try to go there. You won't be able to get access, wasting your time. I can send you the file though. Okay? So I'm just going to quickly go over what it does for me and like whatever. So ultimately it shows a background. You can choose background images. I had the AI choose a bunch of background images, whatever. And Let me see one thing first. One thing. Before we get into this, another program first. Next, we should touch on is Claude. Claude's opening. So, Claude Desktop you can download, and it works just like the other chatbots. The only good difference here is that it would have access to your computer files. I find that Claude kind of has an issue with accessing the files, or maybe I'm just slow, I don't know. But Claude sometimes seems to have an issue with this. And then there's rate limits. Rate limits suck, right? And ideally, you're trying to pay for higher rate limits, but that's not always the case. Can you see the files on my desktop? No. So sometimes it has those issues, but you can still use it and give it files. It's basically working just like one of the online chatbots. Next we have is this, which I can show you this a little. I should probably show you it here. Just finished. So this is something that I basically have, right? This is anti-gravity. And this is another free model. I do recommend to use this one as they do give you other models. As I just was saying, the usage finished on using Claude. So I can now at least go over to Google and use Gemini 3.0. They do have 3.6 was just released as well, but I'm just not using that. And I can just tell it to continue. And it's ultimately updating, editing a video for me right now. That's what it's basically doing. So I can go to continue, and then it'll go back to working on it. So this has better access to all my files, which I appreciate. And obviously there's an approval thing before it gets access to a certain folder. So you do have to approve it, which good safety, whatever. This will allow you to use all these models. Amazing tool, right? It's going to go through, keep editing my video. It's doing a whole video editing, and we're gonna go into this actual process. This is the thing that I was mentioning about the approval. So you just approve it and it goes through. The next thing similar to this, but not this obviously, is Ollama. Ollama is Facebook's version, I believe. It's an open source model the way ChatGPT was supposed to be an open source model, hence the name OpenAI. That's why Elon Musk told them to change their name to Closed AI. But anyways, this is Ollama. It's a free model that you can use. You can download it and get access. You can download all these other models. So you can talk to it. You can say a bunch of stuff. The local models like this, so this is not necessarily online. This is on my computer. All the other models that we went through before are all online models. This one, because it's local, it's a little slower and I guess a little safer. This model is pretty old. I don't really use the local models. This one's, like I said, a bit older. So I'm pretty sure the newer models will be a bit faster, but you can see it does local stuff. You can switch models. Let's ask this question. Because I'm pretty sure it used to say there's two R's. That was the common error. at some point in time a few years ago. So it goes to DeepSeek. It's trying to figure that out. This is basically another version to this. You can see that this came back, pipeline, and it's still running the video. So we'll let that keep doing its thing. This is loading. I don't really use the local model, but it is a good backup if you don't want to pay for the API usage. If you also want something to have access to your computer and you don't want to pay for the API, you use this. This way you don't have to send your files to the online models like the ChatGPT, like all that. So you can see this error is still in here. It said it took 19 seconds, quite a bit of time. If we Claude the same question, maybe it was a faster response. This is not a local model, and it's a little smarter. Right, so things that work out on computer-related stuff that I want to. I think ChatGPT has their own version of this for the computer as well, but I don't use it. I made anti-gravity, and I don't pay for these. These are all free programs. The API thing is pay per use, but we haven't started using APIs in anything that I'm showing you yet. Use, and this program here is what I'm mainly going to edit anything. It has access to all the files. It can go through and it can fix anything. I can delete files, whatever. Let's get this out of here. Now, I'm going to show you all of the actual models that I would go through and edit things. So it's anti-gravity that would build this. It's anti-gravity that would ultimately be able to edit and pinpoint places that need to be edited along these 10,000 lines of code that make this dashboard. So, going through the dashboard, just starting on the left, there's some music which you can select, which you want. As soon as I start, it plays classical music. Don't have to click it again, it stops. If you double click it, I can choose between lo-fi and nature sounds. I can control the volume from here. Right? Control the volume from here, but also from everywhere else. And this is not going to change the computer sound. So I can adjust this sound, the computer sound, and also like the speaker sounds. Noted little tweak because you can make it louder, essentially. I have another one here which is health related stuff. It will track how many times I drink water, if I log it, drink coffee, or work out. There is the world time, so it monitors the trading session ultimately, because that's the only world time I care about. And it will tell me, ultimately I go to it and it tells me what session we're in. Breathing exercises, just in case I'm bored and want to do it. You go like this, and then you little stuff that is meant to help. And then you have some horoscope related stuff. I can go on the day and the week, whatever. Then we have some notes. This is another tool that I actually use a lot. I find myself copying and pasting a bunch of shit sometimes in notes. So I just go to this, I paste whatever I want to paste, can name the file, click on this, and I can choose different file types that I normally make. When I click it, it will download there. And you can basically see exactly what it says. Neat. I actually use this hella. Next is I can place lines and stuff in here, like I can place and ultimately, or I can place whatever. But I can select the fixes that I want to be made to it, hit clean, copy the results, I can paste down here. For example, I can do oh no, that came out exact same. Let's do fix the capitalization. I guess if we did it like this. You could see that it does it here. And it should do all these other things as well. There is a currency exchange thing. If I ever just want to figure out what the exchange rate is between these. There's some books that I should be reading. Book list, whatever. I can add books in, all that. Then there is the weather. It's the fucking weather. Right? Every time I refresh this page, I get a new picture and a new quote, and a new quote here as well. It tries to use my name and everything. It doesn't use it in every message, but there's a list of a bunch of them that it will try to use, basically. Something along those lines. So apart from that, I have a focus tab. Focus tab, I can basically do this and it just does a countdown. Pretty simple. Turn on the music and do anything I want while it's happening. I'm not going to do that and fuck up the video. But I have this links thing here. I used to use the Google Tabs thing at the bar. On the bar there, it's too much, honestly. So I basically have it like this, and I'm in the process of upgrading it to something like this where it'll have all of the charts and I can just select which one I want and it will open there, like for example this, right? So there's another one that will cover finances. This can be tailored towards you. I'm not going to go into that. We have a command center as well. This one is where we use the API. We'll come back to this. This one is a whiteboard. You can draw whatever you want. You can click save and it's going to just download it as a PNG and it's there. Pretty handy. Don't use it all the time, but pretty handy. You can change colors, all that little stuff. And this is like a calendar. I don't really use it too much, but it basically is like an astrology thing. There is a planner, which I'm not going to show you. It's basically my 2026 planner. Things I need to do, things I need to get done, things I did, plans. So next is the markets, which basically has a breakdown for what's on the website. Finances, like I said, and then command center. So command center is basically showing everything. This uses the API, and I'll show you that I can communicate with it here, but I can set up tasks for things I might need to do. Do I use that feature in particular? No, not anymore. I really just make physical to-do lists, like on pen and paper, and do it there. If I have Google Tasks, which I don't, I deleted those as well because I used to keep my to-do list there. I'll show you I keep my to-do list somewhere else now, but ultimately we have that. This is connected to my Google Calendar, so I can see things that I'm supposed to do, and then also my emails. It will show me emails based on certain things that it can go through, And if there's any emails or anything that requires a decision, it can put it here, and I'll basically just be able to check it off and make the decision, send the email or whatever from there. This will kind of track the website stuff a little, email sent, stuff like that. And if there's any issues, should pop up there, right? And then we have an activity log so we can actually see what the agent is doing. And this is the command center. So like I said, we have an API here where I can basically talk to it. And if we were to look at the API thing, let me see if I can go back to it real quick. If I were to go back to this, we can basically see that it's being used. Today, we'll be able to see the balance go down. Right, but this has, you can give it context, you can give it behind the scene context as to information about you, information about certain things. Let's see if it can answer. Okay, so yeah, it's able to pull back certain emails that were received. So it says, I don't see any sent emails today. This is searching my business email. Makes sense. But yeah, it can tell me things regarding the business, stuff like that. And you can see it's basically logging in the assistant agent. This is basically this. The posting one is whatever. There are some metrics which I don't really use, but you can have all these things toggle depending on how much time you spend in them. Can be copied over here. And then this is where you'll place your API. You can place your API in here, so you can choose whatever you want, and then you choose what model you want. And you can also choose your zodiac sign, hit save, and all of these settings will stay firm. This is ultimately the dashboard. It keeps the current time. Time features messed up. But ultimately shows the time, the date, and everything like that. And pretty handy. I use it all the time, like I said. Let's move on. So I have a prompt for you to build this as well. If you want the prompt, I'll make a file actually, and I'll attach it somewhere. You just need a comment prompt in the comments, and you'll get it. Put it that way. So next thing we're going to cover is going to be the indicator. So I was using all of the other models like I just was explaining before, anti-gravity, everything like that, for this to be made. Where is it at? This here is ultimately 2,600 lines of code for this indicator to be able to plot all of these things. I'm going to just drop this on a new chart actually. Let's just start clean. Plain chart, we'll drop the indicator on and we'll show. So this basically allows me to not have to plot support and resistances on my chart anymore. You guys know I trade, and plotting support and resistance, doing all the pre-work before the entry is time consuming. It does wear and tear on your mental before you make that actual trading decision, which is just all factors you need to put in. You need to make the process as simple and easy as possible. So I went through and automated this portion of the analysis. Ultimately, this was really done with Claude Desktop, but once I discovered anti-gravity was a lot better, I followed through just using that program. So this indicator, you add it in, you can get it on the website, it is there, and it's also in the Discord. You just need the Initiate Trading Package, which is free, as is everything I'm talking about in this video. So you take the indicator, you drag it on, and then you can see that there are some settings. You don't have to change any of these. Let me just see. So it's not going to show Fibonacci drawings, which it has the option to. It's going to show daily support and resistance and the current time frame support and resistance, as well as the 4-hour support and resistance. Select on, and then it's going to plot these. So resistances are always going to be red, supports are always going to be green, and it's just telling me how structure broke down, right? If I go to another time frame, it's going to keep the daily on there, and it's going to keep the 4-hour. It's just going to also show me the 1 hour, because I'm on the 1 hour as well. It gives me the bullish trend because it has a feature to determine the higher trend based on the structure of the 4-hour and the daily. And so the current trend is bullish. You can see the day started right here, and we're a few days in the week already now. The week started, if I'm not wrong, I started here. So last week was a bullish week. If we go back 5 days from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just about a doji week, 2, 4, 5. Just about a doji week. That the indicator determined that it was a bullish trend, and so the trend is bullish, in which we're looking for price to continue high and break through the resistance. Ultimately, I don't have to plot support and resistances anymore because this will do it for me. Any time frame I go on, it's going to adjust and show me relevant support and resistance. You might think that this looks like a lot, but this is because price is consolidating. When we get some, I can probably show some other charts, cleaner structure if there's available. But this is ultimately showing me that the 4-hour resistance areas here has been plotted here, and we're forming a lot of consolidation in this area. We have liquidity grab above and price settling back below the resistance. There's no breakout of this, especially if you look at the higher time frame, the 4-hour. It's a small breakout, followed by a candle back in. So pressure is still just ranging in this area. We're nearing the end of the day. There's nothing I would say to do on this, but there is the higher trend which we need to be mindful of. Right, so that's what this indicator does. This is all built from the AI. If I want to change something regarding it, it can go through and change it. Let me see if I can show some other ones. So yeah, it plotted the resistance that we now have, the supports turn resistance. We have structure here, beautiful rejections, price likely to go higher up until the resistance that we have there. But these are all possible because of the AI, ultimately. I have tried to have this indicator built before, and it's cost hundreds of dollars for no results. Okay? This just took a lot of time. Yeah, these vertical lines will show you the start and end of the day. That is pretty normal. And then the prompt for this, to build this, is going to be available if you just hit that. Let's move on. Let's go over to the AI Control Center. So this will answer a few people's questions that they might have. This here is Telegram, as we know. This is actually where I have the API hooked up to. I used to have two APIs. The OpenAI is the main one, and then the secondary one for OpenRouter, just in case one fails, it has a backup one and it doesn't just fail and not work, right? So I'm going to show you some of the features that is available here. You can see that this is posting a schedule. I told you I keep my schedule somewhere else. It's basically here. This is not my schedule, but this is what I'm going to show for example purposes. This is what it does. So it goes off at the time. It sends the message on what I should be doing. And I also have something else connected to, I'll show you the background of the MT5 setup code where it's monitoring the MT5. If I ever close it, I'll get an alert and it will reopen it for me to make sure that the automations are running and that while the market is open, it will stay open. So this is where I have the API hooked up to. The API then has access to the computer and all the files. So there is a bunch of things, like if I have questions while I'm doing something, I can just ask it here and it should be able to come back. So I can use Telegram on my phone or from wherever I'm at, and I can send messages or get processes running straight from here. Certain questions that I got from people were, how do I set up this in regards to taxes and stuff just like that. I'll show you the background of things later, but you could set it up to this where the agent maybe has access to tax-related files or has access to certain context-related stuff, which is going to help it perform and get you the answers that you're looking for. So you can see that it comes back and says MT5 is down, attempting restart. We'll see what happens. But with this, let's just do start. So it says MT5 restarted. Is it restarted? There we go. MT5 restarted. Amazing. So, like I did here, I click start, and then it'll come back and it will tell me certain things like scheduler. So the current schedule will be skill building. That's what I should be doing. Skill building was the last alert. And then we have to-do list. Like I said, I don't really use it as I showed it from the dashboard before. This is connected to the dashboard. So I can basically communicate with my computer through the dashboard or through Telegram. Telegram is my predominant use. There's certain agents here. So the agent I'm talking to for this is called the headmaster. And then there is an assistant agent, which is closely related to the headmaster. There's a coding agent, which will code anything that I want. There's a business agent that knows my business related stuff. There's a research agent that will research things before I actually get to it. Like if I have a project idea or something, I could tell it to that. I could tell it to it and it'll begin research, start project files, look into certain things. That way when I get to it, it'll already have a bunch of pre-text knowledge for me. Right, so pretty handy. I use it here and there. We have other tasks. So when I click start, I get this bunch of stuff. I can get container statuses. If I just click that, gives me whatever content, I think this will tell me how much content I have left to post. I can do drive checks. I can do the emails. It can tell me models. What models are using what. I could do a briefing. I could do a focus. Nothing I think will pop up here. No pending tasks. I can switch between daily. All these things. And then if I go to calendar, like I said, like it showed in the thing, it fetched my Google Calendar and it pulled it back here. So I can ask it these things too. Right, so in the same regards, you can set this up for tax related stuff to where it's going to know the context to come back with. There we go. I thought this was going to fail for a second. Wait, what? Okay. That's hilarious. Okay, so we see that this comes back with results as well, right? So we could type start again. Start is just the simple command to get everything uploaded. But you can type these in as well. Like, I'm not going to do calendar again. Let's do doctor. If I do doctor, it'll tell me doctor related stuff. I can keep all my doctor related files, health files, pictures of my body there, and it has access to everything, know how everything works, all that. Amazing little feature. I don't know how the doctors be with you, but if they're not telling you something, at least you have access to more information and things that you might not tell your doctor. I also have the option of going business, I believe. Let's do how many zero. So you can kind of see by the message there's the background data of pulling APIs, because there's different APIs. It's not just OpenAI API key. There's other APIs for like Telegram APIs so that they can connect and talk, essentially. So this can do a bunch of related things, like I can probably ask it this, and it will come back with actual results. So it's free. It's free, basically. So that's basically what this does. I'll show you the background related stuff to this. If you want to get the prompt to set this up, I'll show you briefly real quick. AI control. So AI control related stuff. So there is some background on Headmaster. There's file setups, which just is the complicated side of things. But there's also the same for the automation. As for, like I said, there is the MT5 monitor, which if it closes, it'll update. If there's issues, it freezes or something, it'll tell me. Discord related stuff. This manages a bunch of stuff, but everything from YouTube, sending emails, posting my trading results, posting on social media, they're all handled locally ultimately. And for, let's go back to this. If we go to the Headmaster, it will have data or memory, things that can, the context files, so it knows what you want as it's filtering out that information for you. Make sense? So let's go back. We already got the answer for that. So yeah, if you want the prompt to help set this up for yourself, you can either comment prompt or just send pictures to the AI. Go to anti-gravity, send pictures to this, send the video link, and it should be able to piece some things together. Next is something we won't spend too much time on, but this is for editing videos. So it's currently going through the process of editing some videos for me, but it can ultimately go through and edit videos. Let me see if I can find. So it can go through and you can send long form video. This is like the live stream I did on the PIP Academy on turning $500 into $20,000. This is two versions, There's a vertical version and a horizontal version, and this is ultimately sent here to where it gets processed. And let's probably just go to vertical, and it will put all the videos in vertical format. It makes a script. We need those already in vertical to begin with, but if we go to there's a bunch of features to them. All the videos are slightly different or unique. Captions. I used to use CapCut to be able to do the captions, and there's there's a website called Opus something. There's another one called Gling. I used to pay for all those programs just to be able to add captions or cut out blank spaces of silence and all those type of things. The AI that can do this for you, ultimately. So it goes through the video as well, and it ultimately sets it to upload, and once it's uploaded, it gets transferred to the upload folder. If it fails to upload, it'll go to a retry, all of that. So there is an organized system as to when I have the long form video, and I send all those pieces that I can post on social media. And from here, this is ultimately set up to the automation poster, to where this will handle posting on all the social media sites, just like those social media management websites charge you $50 a month, $60 a month to be able to post 20 posts. This is running free, and I have way more control over everything. Absolute control over everything. So cool little feature to be able to edit videos just very quickly. Once I have the files, I literally just enter a command and it processes. I believe this is what anti-gravity is doing right now with this process, but we might be able to even see. Also makes backup monthly updates. Cool little feature, just so I don't have to manually back up all my files like I used to. So in regards to this YouTube video editing process, you can obviously have ideas and change it to be more suited towards what you want to produce. But I can give you the prompt for this. I can give you the setup, the files that are already there. You will just have to input your own things here and there. Caption styles, font styles, filters, all those type of stuff. So the next thing I want to transition into is going to be Cloudflare and using free tunnels. Okay, this might seem a little complicated, but we're going up the scale here into more complicated stuff, right? So yeah, more complicated stuff. So the way I have this hosted and being able to access this, yes, you can have this local on your computer and just like a index HTML file or something, open it and it will open. You can have access to it. But if you want it to be online, it needs to be hosted online. I am hosting it on my website through a private link. The other way that you can do this is through Cloudflare. Cloudflare is a pretty nice program. I've been using it for a long time. Let me see if I can log in. And ultimately, the reason I use this is because I have a website, but it is great for safety reasons. And you can also set up domains. Let me see if I can remember exactly how to do this. But ultimately, you can go here and you can get a URL link that can either be permanent or it can be something that changes every time you refresh or every time you restart the program. It can change, but it will provide you with the link, obviously. I want to see if I can just find where this is done from. Something about tunnels. Something about tunnels. Something about tunnels. Anyways, you can even ask the AI about this. You can even ask the AI about this. But there are some tunnel related stuff that you can use to set up that page, this HTML page. to be displayed online, so it has online abilities like the command center, for example. Right, so let's just Telegram messages. Let's go back real quick, have a quick look. Let's do it like this real quick. So yeah, these quick glimpse of the Telegram messages that as it goes through, it'll show it's sending messages on my schedule, and I can ultimately click on all these different stuff. So that's basically it. That should answer all the questions that I've been getting in regards to this. This program will save you a bunch of money. You don't have to pay for a bunch of things that they might tell you that you have to be paying for. I would not pay for the higher usage things. I have a lot of email accounts, so with anti-gravity, you can literally just log in, the conversation saves, and continue. Every week, the usage resets, and with about 5 email accounts, you should be fine to use it non-stop. The best model. Non-stop. But that's basically what is there. That covers a majority of the stuff. If we just take another look at the back end of stuff, so the dashboard is copied there. There is another AI thing that I did not go over, which is just an expert advisor version of the indicator. So there's an expert advisor version to it, and then there's another version which is AI related. So the AI is integrated into the code, and so that's handling there. To post on TikTok and stuff like that, that's handled there. I'm just showing you this. Maybe you can take pictures, send it over into your AI, and it can come back with something that will be useful for you to continue. The code agent has access to the file, so we can edit stuff. I can sync things to the drive when it comes to sending my pictures for my trades and stuff like that. Role, if you join the Initiate program, you will have access to certain things, which you should do by joining the Discord, so you can get access to everything. And ultimately, it makes images. It analyzes my analytics, Discord trading results, analysis, posting on social media. But what it's doing, it's saving me a bunch of money to do all these things. It's giving me more control over my content and what I'm releasing. And it's speeding up my workflow by a ton. I used to have to spend countless hours editing videos, sending emails, replying to a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff that this is able to do for me, I no longer have to do, and I have more time to do a bunch of other bullshit. But that's it for this video. I'm not gonna spend more time than that's really needed. I think I covered everything in regards to this. If there's any questions, just drop it down below. I'll answer it. I'll probably make another video, but I want to put this here because a lot of you guys be asking questions about what tools to use, how do I use them, XYZ. So those are the tools that I use, and that's what I've produced with these tools. There's a bunch of other stuff in the background, but those are the main things that I can show you that I know that it can do well, that it can run, the command center, the link, this whole dashboard I think is amazing and superb. That being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.